Recently, I've been rating some of your Minecraft ideas, so enjoy this compilation of all of your ideas that I've rated so far. Make sure to leave this video on in the background and subscribe. Today, I'm rating your Minecraft ideas and using mods to see whether they should or should not be added into the game. I've always thought that there should be bogged and stray skeleton horses as well as snowy zombies and stuff. So would more hostile mob variants work in Minecraft? Well, let's take a look. First of all, in the Mount of Mayhem update, we are getting new mob variants. For example, we're getting the Nautilus, but we're also getting the Zombie Nautilus, and then the Zombie Coral Nautilus, and we're also getting the Camel Husk, which is a variant of the Camel. And we're also getting a brand new desert variant of a skeleton, known as the Parched. So Minecraft is already going ahead and adding new mob variants into the game, so I definitely think we could see some more in the future. Now, skeleton horses are really cool, however, one limitation that they have is they only come in one variant. You can't get like a bogged variant or a stray variant or the new parched variant, despite them existing as skeleton variants. But then you could argue that's the same for the zombie horse. We don't get like a drowned zombie horse, we don't get a snowy zombie horse, or we don't get a desert zombie horse or anything like that. So I feel like it would be cool to see skeleton horse variants, although it's quite unlikely that we'd see that, and we'd see different mounts instead. For example, we're getting the camel husk for the parched and husk in the deserts, and that's the mount for the desert biomes. Now, we don't have a snowy mount yet, but it would be cool to get like some sort of zombie polar bear or something, and then that could have the stray on it, and the next feature, frozen zombies, which the comment actually spoke about, and I've got a couple mods which actually add these zombies into the game. First, we've got the Gelid from the Variants and Ventures mod, and we've also got the frozen zombie from the Zombie Variants mod. And honestly, would frozen zombies be good in Minecraft? Yes, we've already got strays, so we need a snowy variant for the zombie, and both these mods actually add really cool designs. The Gelid's a bit more like a vanilla Minecraft sort of zombie would look like, but this frozen zombie design also just looks really cool. Although, I feel like if we were to get a frozen zombie, this would be the more realistic one, and it would probably have a name like the Gelid or the Ford or something like that, rather than frozen zombie. But both of these would be cool, and in terms of actual abilities, I reckon it would just end up throwing snowballs, right? Like, oh, yep, that guy throws snowballs and freezes me. That's great. I'll hop back into creative mode for now. And I don't think they have any unique drops, either of them. Nope, just some rotten flesh. But yeah, definitely want some more zombie and skeleton variants. Oh, these guys are fighting. Don't know why they're doing that. But yeah, we definitely need some more mob variants for hostile mobs. And I feel like the next one we will get is a frozen zombie. Flowers in the same manner as tropical fish. Random leaves, stem, flower shapes and colours, double tall or not. Bone meal to make more. Flower fields would become ridiculously sought after by landscapers. Now, flowers are one of my favourite blocks within Minecraft, so I definitely think they should get more designs, and luckily I've installed a bunch of mods which add new variants. For example, we've got the mod Wilder Wild, which adds loads of new variants. We've got Tiny Flowers, which is another really cool mod, as well as Biomes Plenty. So these are a couple of the Wilder Wild mods. We've got the Carnation and the Yellow Hibiscus. These are some cool flower variants. Then we've got Tiny Pink Tulips and Tiny Dandelions, which work just like the wildflowers and pink petals. And that is actually so cool. I haven't properly looked through that, so we'll take a look at a few more in a second. Then from Biomes Plenty, we've got Orange Cosmos, the Rose, which I'll also want to talk about in a second, as well as the Burning Blossom. That's cool. Does that set mobs on fire? Okay, yes it does. And then we've also got White Lavender, which also looks really nice. Just taking a look at these tiny flowers, these look so cool. That's a tiny torch flower. I love the design and like the height levels onto that one. We've got tiny poppies, tiny open-eye blossom. That looks so cool. Tiny wither rose, which I assume withers you. Oh, no it doesn't. That's quite surprising. Tiny closed eye blossom, tiny cactus flower, that's cool. Tiny orange tulip, tiny allium. I feel like these would be so good in the game, or just like a similar sort of variant for like pink petals. I think with the wildflower, it was one of my favorite additions this year in Minecraft. I feel like we do need more color variants, which is why this Tiny Flowers mod is so cool. It just adds so many more. And these would just be so good for building and decoration, and as a comment suggested, like landscaping. Now this comment also suggested random flower variants for the actual just default flowers, so we get different textures, which is where the Flower Clusters resource pack comes in, as it adds loads of different variants to flowers. For example, we've got the orange tulips, as you can see. We get the regular one, but we also get some with 2 flowers, some with 3 flowers, and works with like dandelions as well. These ones look good. Same with cornflowers, as well as for poppy. And honestly, I'd love this in the game. If you've watched any of my videos before, you'll probably know that I always play with a random flower resource pack, normally the ones designed by Fwip. However, I don't think this would come to vanilla Minecraft, as Minecraft tends to stick with the same texture. For example, we don't get variated grass block textures at all. We don't get variated log textures or anything like that. We always stick to one design, which is why I feel like a resource pack or like a mod like this wouldn't actually be added, as Minecraft wouldn't want to take away from the default vanilla look of a dandelion by adding in some with 2, some with 3. However, I'd love it to be a feature, although I just doubt that this would be the way they'd implement it. Most likely, we'd just get new flower variants in the game instead. Now, the rose is a good example of a flower that I think could be added to Minecraft in the future. If you don't know, this actually used to be a flower in Minecraft until it was replaced by a poppy. However, I feel like it should still be added back as it's quite an iconic Minecraft feature. Same way, crying obsidian was actually added back after 10 years, as it was once a removed feature, and it was quite an iconic feature. So I feel like the rose could be added in the future, and I feel like a cool way to get it would be to have a rose bush, and then you share it, and it drops a couple of roses, which you can then obviously decorate with. That way we give an existing block some more unique uses, and we get a brand new flower variant as a result, which just would be so cool. This comment also suggested bone mealing flowers to make more of them, which is a feature I definitely agree with, as we can do it to double tool flowers, as you can see. Click it and we get more. And in Bedrock Edition, you can bone meal a flower and it will spread. For example, place this red tulip, bone meal it, it will spawn a few more around it. That needs to be added to Java Edition as it's such a good feature and it allows you to get flowers so much easier than finding like a random area where they grow in the overworld and then constantly bone mealing that area. I think that would be a good way to get more variants. I also did just see bone mealing flowers creates these seeding dandelions with a Wilder Wild mod. That's quite cool, but it's sort of irrelevant. So should we get more flower variants in Minecraft? 100%. Just like you should 100% subscribe, as I want to see how many subscribers I can be on by the end of the year. End update. Now, the end update has been a big talking point in the Minecraft community within the past few years, but should we actually get an end update? Well, if I'm honest, I could make an entire video about why there should and shouldn't be an end update, but my answer straight away is, I'm not that bothered. Obviously, it would be cool to get an end update, like we get some new wood variants and new building blocks, but I'm also not that bothered. I don't go to the end that much, and maybe it is because it's unupdated, and it definitely could do with some new features. However, I don't feel like we necessarily need an end update right now. I'd rather see some biome overhauls first. Now, don't get me wrong, if Minecraft was to announce an end update tomorrow, I'd still be very excited. However, I just don't think we'll get one in the near future, and even if we do, it won't be what you expect. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about an end update today, but if you want to know more, I'd recommend checking out this video by Flip, as he created a really good video going through like his ideas for an end update. However, in current Minecraft, the end is known as this sort of barren wasteland dimension, and I feel like it would sort of stick that way. Maybe we'd get a few new biomes with like a new type of tree, maybe like some purple wood or something like that, but it wouldn't be this giant magical overhaul you see in mods such as The Better End. Now, should an end update be added to Minecraft? Eventually, yes. However, I'm not too bothered about it right now, and if it was to be added, I don't think it would be what most people expect. I feel like everyone expects it to be giant biome overhauls with like colourful trees and containing loads of new mobs and weapons and things. Likely, we'd maybe get a couple of biomes, maybe a new structure. All I'd like, honestly, is a type of wood and some new enchantments. But an end update would still be cool. It's just not very likely in my opinion. Aether dimension getting added. Now, similar to an end update, I'm not sure if we would get a new dimension anytime soon within Minecraft. And that's because I feel like there are so many features within Minecraft that need updates first. For example, I still think we need loads of biome overhauls. There are so many blocks that I'd love to see added in Minecraft, like colourful leaves and things like that, which haven't been added yet. So I feel like I prefer that to a whole new dimension. Obviously, a new dimension would be cool. Maybe it could have something to do with the Skulk portal, but as a comment suggested, the Aether, I very much doubt we'll actually get the Aether added to Minecraft. Whilst it was a mod developed by current Minecraft developer King B-Dogs, I just don't think we'll get that as an update in Minecraft, as at the end of the day, it is a mod. And whilst certain features from mods have been added in the past, I just don't feel like we'll get the Aether as you expected. Maybe we'll get some sort of dimension in the future. However, I also don't feel like it would be some sort of sky dimension, as the end sort of represents that in a weird way. I know it's sort of like more like space almost, but I feel like the end represents the sky, the Nether represents like the underground, and then the overworld just represents like Earth. So I don't feel like we'll get like some sort of sky or heaven dimension in the future. And if I'm honest, I'm really not that bothered about a dimension, because where would it fit into the progression system? As obviously the overworld is a default dimension, then you have to go to the Nether to progress in order to then go to the final dimension, the end, which is called the end. So that sort of means it's a final dimension. And we could add some like massive post-game dimension, but I feel like then people wouldn't want to go to it, or people would be less likely to visit it, as you'd have to sort of beat the whole game first and like go to the end, defeat the dragon, get an elytra and all that. I feel like that's a bit unlikely as well. And if I'm honest, I feel like a new dimension is a perfect thing for a mod rather than a vanilla Minecraft update. Make zombie combat more interesting. Stuff like pushing other mobs towards you, flanking and climbing onto each other. Now, we did touch on this earlier when we were discussing more mob variants, such as the zombies. And I feel like if we did get some more zombie variants, we may get some combat changes to do with the zombies. For example, a frozen zombie which could throw snowballs at you or something like that. However, like completely different combat overhaul for a zombie, I just don't think it's too likely. We've already got events like the zombie invasion, which is quite a forgotten Minecraft feature if I'm honest. No one seems to remember that's a thing, as it is really rare. But I feel like that could become more common, and that could be the sort of zombie event. Maybe then zombies could spawn with stronger weapons and things, but I don't feel like we should get a whole zombie overhaul. As to be honest, the whole point of a zombie is to be a bit like a player. It attacks in the same way, it can have armor and can have a weapon, and it's not too overpowered. Just like the player in the beginning of Minecraft, I feel like the creeper is a completely different experience. Like imagine you're a player on your first night. A skeleton can shoot you from far away. A skeleton can climb up walls to chase you. A creeper will blow you up. Whereas a zombie's a bit like you. It follows you, it will attack you. And that's about it. The zombie doesn't have any like special abilities where it runs really fast. I feel like the default zombie should stay the same, as it is sort of the counterpart to the Minecraft player. However, I am quite a big fan of the climbing on top of each other idea. And this is actually a feature on Minecraft Bedrock Edition. If we take a look at the wiki, obviously we're all used to the chicken jockey. However, on Bedrock Edition, you can get an adult zombie jockey, where a baby zombie jumps on top of an adult zombie. Same way it works on a husk, but then the baby zombie can also ride on things like a zombified piglin, a pig, a cow, a mushroom, a sheep, a wolf, an ocelot, a stray cat, a horse, a panda, and a baby zombie on a spider. I feel like this should be added to Minecraft Java Edition. Obviously it's already in Bedrock Edition, but I'd like a feature like this where the baby zombie can ride more mobs to make it a bit more dangerous. I mean, it already is quite dangerous, but making it ride other mobs like an adult zombie would be quite cool. Making it ride something like a cat which can run really fast would be cool. And we're also sort of getting at, I guess, with the Mountain Mayhem update, where zombies can spawn on horses, as well as husks can spawn on the camel husk, which I believe baby husks will also be able to spawn, which is quite cool. So should we get an update to zombies? In a way, yes. A complete combat overhaul I'm not a fan of. However, I think certain updates which already exist in Bedrock Edition should be added, as well as what I covered earlier on in the video, more variants. Now, do we need variants for every type of biome? No, we don't need like mushroom zombies, although these guys look so cool, I would like them. However, obviously the mushroom island doesn't spawn hostile mobs. We don't need things like a pale garden zombie or anything like that. All we really need now is a frozen zombie, and I'd also like some sort of poisonous zombie for the jungle or for the swamps. In the same way we've now got the bogged. There should be variants of the passive mobs like hogs for pigs and bulls for cow. Now, we already have this in Minecraft. Obviously we've got the default temperate cows, but then we've also got the cold cows as well as the warm cows, which are sort of like bulls in a way with their giant horns. Then obviously we've got the default pig, and then we've also got the cold and warm pigs. So we've already got mob variants of passive mobs. However, I still do think it would be cool to get some more in the future, and actually in my previous video I did talk about loads of new mob variants I'd like to see in the game. So now that we have variants such as the warm cow, I don't think we actually need to see bulls in the game, and we also don't really need to see like hogs or boars in the game now that we've got pig variants. But what features would you like to see added to Minecraft? Let me know in the comments, as I might rate them in the next video. Your Minecraft ideas suck, or do they? Well, let's find out. Adding hostile mobs to the cherry blossom. Now the cherry grove is one of my favourite biomes in Minecraft. But does it need its own unique mobs? Well, the zombie variants mod adds in the very own cherry zombies, which are a really cool zombie form. I actually really like this design with like the pink on them. They've got some like, sort of leaves on them, a bit like the sort of green you see in these cherry leaves. And they are quite cool mobs. They're top of the survival. I don't really know what these do. Do they attack? They do. I feel like these are just normal zombies though. So what happens if I kill them? They do just drop rotten flesh. But does the cherry grove actually need its own hostile mobs? Well, does it need its own unique mobs? Probably not, as I feel like the cherry grove is a really nice biome, and it's such a peaceful biome with sort of the pink petals flying around everywhere, so it shouldn't get its own unique hostile mob. However, something like a cherry zombie would be a cool feature to find, as I feel like the cherry grove is unique enough as a biome to get its own variants rather than just having the default zombies. But that's not to say the cherry grove shouldn't get any unique mobs, and one example that I can think of is the cherry grove getting its own unique mob variants. Obviously, wolves now have different variants in Minecraft. I feel like the cherry grove is definitely a biome that is unique enough to get its own variant. Now, one idea for new wolf variants is from a couple of canines data pack available on Modfriend, as it adds a few more wolf types into the game, which all look so good by the way. But specifically, it adds this masked wolf into the cherry grove, and this is a type of wolf I'd love to see, as if we look closely in the picture, this looks so cool. And honestly, the cherry grove really does fit the theme of adding a new wolf variant. So whilst I don't think the cherry grove should get its own unique hostile mob, it could get its own hostile mob variant, as well as our new wolf variant, Echo Shard Armor and Tools. For those that don't know, the Echo Shard is a rare Minecraft item which is found exclusively in the ancient cities, but should it be used to make tools and armor? Well, if I'm going to be honest, I don't really think so, as I can't really figure out a way that it would fit into the progression system. As the ancient city is a rare and dangerous structure, so it could give you some loot which provides some good buffs. However, it can be obtained before you even go to the Nether or the End, so it can't be that overpowered. So to be honest, I don't really think Echo Shards, tools and armor should be added, same way I don't feel like Amethyst tools and armor should be added. However, I do think Echo Shards could get a different use instead. This is the smithing table, used to create armor trims. And there are so many different materials you can use for an armor trim. As you can see, we can use things like redstone dust, emeralds, lapis, diamonds, amethyst shards, quartz, copper ingots, gold ingots, resin bricks, and I honestly feel like the Echo Shard should be one of these, as it's very similar to the Amethyst Shard. And I feel like a fun property of this item could be to allow the armor trims to glow in the dark, as then it sort of matches the vibe of the ancient city a bit, as Skulk sort of has a glow effect to it. So whilst I don't think Echo Shard tools and armor should be added, I do think Echo Shard trims would be a great new feature. Stamina instead of attack cooldown. Now the attack cooldown in Minecraft is genuinely one of my favourite features of combat, so I'm going to say that this isn't a very good idea, as I honestly think a stamina system in Minecraft would really ruin the game. And I guess we do already have a stamina system in place with the hunger bar, as once you move around or take damage, you will slowly begin to get more hungry until you can no longer sprint. However, I don't necessarily think stamina should be tied to the attack cooldown. Instead, maybe a system could be put in place where the more hungry you get, the slower your attack cooldown is. Obviously, it shouldn't affect it too much, but perhaps once you drop to the point where you can no longer sprint, maybe you do start to attack a little bit slower. That way you sort of have to eat. However, I do think a stamina system instead of attack cooldown just isn't a very good idea. In the Badlands, you can find salt ore. If you mine it with a stone shovel, it drops salt. You can then add it to any meat item, making it give more saturation. Now, this is genuinely one of the best Minecraft ideas I've seen, as it finally could add another use to the Badlands, as well as a buff to food. As to be honest, 90% of the food in Minecraft behaves in the same way. You eat it and you gain hunger and saturation. Only a few of them work differently, like the chorus fruit, or the golden apple and enchanted golden apple giving you potion effect, or the cake being placed down, or the dried kelp being eaten a bit quicker. I feel like a system like salt could really improve food. As right now, the two best foods in Minecraft are the cooked pork chop and the golden carrot. The cooked pork chop gives more hunger, but the golden carrot restores more saturation. So I feel like a system with salt, adding it to your cooked pork chop to give it even more saturation, would be a really nice feature, as that way you don't need to decide between the two, which obviously cooked pork chop is a better option. However, as I feel like this could be quite an overpowered thing, maybe salt would have to be quite rare, just so you can't get like stacks of it at a time. And also, the one part of this comment I don't really like is the fact that you'd have to use a stone shovel. In my opinion, you should be able to use any type of shovel, or maybe a brush or something instead. Before I move on to the next Minecraft idea, make sure to subscribe. And if you do, I'll plant down 5 carrots inside of my Minecraft world, finding a way to re-add the Nether reactor in a modern setting with a possible new use. Now, for those who don't know, the Nether reactor was an early version of the Nether on Minecraft Pocket Edition, and had this block in the center, as well as 2 different phases, which all look really cool and are really unique textures, this obviously being the most notable one. And obviously, this is the structure made with cobblestone gold blocks and that Nether reactor core in the middle to create this giant Nether spire. Obviously, it was removed in place of the actual Nether portal and the dimension itself, so we don't need that back in the game. However, a Nether reactor core block would be so cool, as it does just look amazing. But what use could it even have? Well, if I'm honest, I'm not too sure. I'd just like to see it get re-added, similar to how crying obsidian was added. So, I'm going to turn to you in the comments. If you have any ideas for what a Nether reactor core could do, let me know in the comments and you may be featured in the next video. As honestly, it's a great looking block for decoration. I just feel like it could definitely get a second use if it was to be re-added. Given that the Nether fungi have wood sets, I think introducing wood sets for the overworld mushrooms would be cool. They could have a unique texture like bamboo planks, and cactus and azalea wood would also be good. Now this is something I'd love to see in Minecraft, as mushrooms work in a similar way to trees. Obviously you can bone meal them to grow them up. However, I don't feel like the brown and red mushroom blocks should be the things that turn into planks, as these are sort of like the leaf blocks of the structure. Instead, I think the mushroom stem could be crafted into a plank. And I guess now we do have this sort of pale plank texture, so we have a white wood. However, the mushrooms actually hide a secret feature. If you are to cover it in more mushrooms and then break it, we get this really cool coloured block. And it's such a nice block. Shame you can't really build with it because you do need to properly destroy all the sides of it with a mushroom block. But this is such a cool block, and this could be a really cool coloured wood plank. And I also love this comment suggestion of it having a unique plank texture. Obviously, most planks like pale oak and regular oak look the same. However, bamboo has a slightly different design, and I feel like that could work in a similar way to mushrooms. This comment also suggested a cactus wood type, which I'd love to see. This is from the Pricks and Planks mod, and it just adds in a cactus wood set. And honestly, this makes sense as well. The cactus, I guess, is a bit like a tree. If bamboo can make planks, I feel like a cactus could as well, and these would be another great building block, as right now we don't really have a green colored plank in the game. This comment also suggested Azalea wood, which I feel like does just make sense. I don't know which mod I've got installed which turns it into jungle wood, but I really do feel like the Azalea should get its own unique wood type. Maybe being a green plank, maybe being a purple plank, I'm not too sure, but it should definitely get its own unique type, as right now it's oak logs, which don't look amazing for an Azalea tree. Paint bucket. Now, should paint and I guess dyeable planks and things be added? No. This is because we've already got a colour system in the game being dye, so paint's sort of redundant in this way. And I also don't feel like dyeable planks should be added. That's because a unique part about planks is the fact that you have to explore to get a certain colour. If you want orange, you'll have to go to the savannah. If you want pink, you'll have to travel to the cherry grove, instead of just finding a flower and turning your wood into that colour. And whilst there are so many different wood colours that Minecraft still needs, I feel like these should be added in the form of trees instead. Like a palm plank, that could be added with a palm tree. Redwood planks, redwood tree. There are so many colours of wood we still need in Minecraft, and I feel like it would just be better to get new tree variants instead. That way you can explore the world more and find new interesting biomes. Now, I guess you don't need to explore the overworld for all of these. It would be cool to get some new unique wood types in the Nether, maybe getting 1 or 2 more. And same with the end. I feel like if there is an end update in the future, we should get some new wood types. Levels giving small buffs per 10 levels, starting at level 10. Now, I'll be honest, I don't really like this suggestion, as XP levels in Minecraft are already used for something. They're used for enchanting, which do give extra sort of skills, the ability to mine faster or attack more or set mobs on fire. So I really don't feel like we need new skill system, as otherwise you'd sort of have to choose between enchanting your pickaxe with fortune 3 to get more diamonds, or having those 10 levels for a little bit more haste or a little bit more, I guess, attack damage, which enchantments already do. Now instead, I feel like more enchantments should be added instead, such as a lifesteal enchantment which heals you when you attack a mob or player, or one that I'd really like to see, a double jump enchantment for your boots. I'm rating your Minecraft ideas to see if they would be good features. Starting with, I really want block consistency, like having all planks have mosaic variants, add smooth, polished and brick variants to stone types, etc. Now, out of everything I'd like to see in Minecraft, these new blocks are probably the thing I'd most look forward to seeing, as they just make building so much better. For example, with the Trailer Tails mod, we get things like polished calcite, polished resin, granite bricks, andesite bricks, chiseled andesite, cracked bricks, chiseled endstone bricks. All of these look so good and would really help to improve building in vanilla Minecraft. This also just does make sense for blocks, especially like granite and andesite, as obviously in vanilla we've got polished andesite, diorite and granite, but we've got that for deep slate and blackstone as well, which you can get brick variants of. So we really need to see these brick variants get added, and I'd also love to see more calcite block variants as well, similar to how Tough got updated in 1.21. Now, this comment also mentioned for mosaic blocks. Obviously the only one we have in vanilla Minecraft is bamboo mosaics, but would it be good to get other wood variants? I'm honestly not too sure, as since the addition of the mosaic block in 1.20, I don't think I've ever built with this block. So I mean, I wouldn't necessarily find it useful, but I guess if people use these a lot, maybe they would. Especially because for something like a spruce plank, it would probably look quite nice. And hey, I always like more blocks in the game, so it wouldn't be too bad. I wish that Mojang adds new types of vegetables like tomatoes, pickles, onions and lettuce. Since we have potatoes, why don't they add a new furnace to cook food? Well, in case you didn't know, this is the smoker, a block which has been in Minecraft since 1.14, and it actually is used to cook food. As you can see, it will cook potatoes twice as fast as a regular furnace. So we don't really need another furnace to cook food. However, more farming options would be amazing. And luckily the Farmer's Delight mod exists, so we can take a look at all of these brand new crops, as it adds in lettuce, tomatoes, onions and rice, which all would be amazing crops in Minecraft. First of all, they could be new food sources, even if they just provide like 1 or 2 hunger haunches, but you can obviously also plant them down, and they offer some amazing new designs, especially with Farmer's Delight. The onions look really nice, so do the tomatoes growing up with rope. I don't know if we'd necessarily see that in Minecraft, but like tomato crops, rice crops, things like that would all be so nice in the game. And another feature that Farmer's Delight adds into the game are new meals. So you can use a lot of these and combine them with other items. For example, you can create a hamburger using things like beef, lettuce, tomato, all to create one giant meal, which I don't necessarily think everything like that should be added. I think we should get a few new types of stews and soup. We shouldn't get like hamburgers or pizzas added to Minecraft, but more like stews and soups would be fun, especially if they add new crops into the game, such as tomatoes or rice, which I really want to see. Because building big rice plains would be so fun, but also just simple crops like onions and lettuce would also be really fun to build with. And obviously then harvest, eat, trade with villagers, and you could do so much with it. And I feel like one of the next Minecraft updates Minecraft really needs is more of a farming update. I guess we're technically getting that, or we could be getting that with the next game drop, as it updates lots of the baby mob textures. Perhaps that's hinting towards a farming update. I mean, that would be really nice. Before I move on to the next Minecraft idea, make sure to subscribe. Warning, this is a very hot take. Mojang should make wolf armor work like other armors, because then they could add armadillo armor for players, horses, and the Nautilus. Wolves could also have leather, copper, etc. Now, honestly, I'm not too sure about all of these ideas. I love how unique wolf armor is already, as it fully protects a wolf from taking any damage. Plus, if you didn't know, you can actually dye wolf armor as well. So we can add some like magenta and some black dye to this one, for example, to get a really unique colored wolf armor. So that somewhat removes the need to have like a leather wolf armor, as we can already dye armadillo armor. So do we need other types? Honestly, no, because it's so overpowered right now. I feel like they couldn't add new wolf armor types in without this armadillo one being debuffed. And then no one would go out of their way to get the armadillo armor. Instead, they'd go and just craft some leather armor or find diamond wolf armor or something, instead of actually hunting out the armadillos to get the scoots. However, I do think armadillo scoots could have another use, such as being able to create armor for the player. We've already got the turtle shell in vanilla Minecraft, and I feel like a full set of turtle armor would also make sense, as the helmet provides 10 seconds of water breathing. Maybe each other piece of armor provides an extra 5 seconds, or maybe the boots increase swim speed a bit. That way you can create more unique sets of armor, and obviously I think this should work as well with the armadillo scoots, as then you could create yourself a full set of armadillo scoot armor. Maybe it gives you resistance or something. Then I feel like armadillo armor as well as turtle armor could be a really fun way to combat mace PvP, as if I hit my wolf with a mace, you can see but its armor shatters, but it's completely fine. I think that should work the same for turtle armor and armadillo armor. Maybe it provides the player with 1 or 2 safe protections from a mace. So if you had a full set of armadillo armor, I hit you with a mace, it breaks your armor, but you don't take any damage. I think something like that with the armadillo armor and the turtle armor could work really well. That way mob armor is a bit more unique. I think adding a new biome that spawns far away enough from land, that being the deep oceans, along with Monster of the Deep from the first mob vote. Now, if you didn't know, deep oceans already exist as a biome in Minecraft, but I do agree that they need to be improved, as right now they don't go down very fast. So I'd like to see them get even deeper, perhaps even going down to deep slate level. That way we can have extra deep oceans to explore. Maybe at deep slate levels we could get a new type of mob like an anglerfish, or a new unique structure or something like that. I also like the idea of a Monster of the Deep mob. That would be a really cool idea. However, from the official art, I don't think Minecraft is going to add something like that. Same way they won't be adding the Great Hunger or Wildfire into the game anytime soon, as they were never promised features. They were just part of a mob vote, which if they lost, they'd never be added. And that's why we haven't seen them, despite that mob vote being almost 10 years ago now. But some type of ocean creature would be quite cool. I mean, we already have things like guardians, but another like giant squid or a whale or something like that would be really fun to encounter, especially in the deeper parts of the oceans. Maybe even just an anglerfish, as I mentioned already. I really like to see that in the game. More birds like crows, ducks, swans, ostriches, storks, hummingbirds, and maybe pigeons? Yes, 100% yes. Now in vanilla Minecraft, we only have 2 types of birds. We have the chicken, and we also have a parrot, and all its different colours. However, we don't have any others, and I really think we need more variants, as they just help to add more ambience into the game, especially with the bird sounds we could hear in forests. And the main ones I'd like to see, as the comment suggested, is things like ducks spawning in rivers. That'd be really cool. I feel like the ostrich would be cool as well. That was a part of a previous biome vote. Maybe we could tame them or ride them or something. And obviously another mob vote loser, I'd love to see the penguin added to the game as well. Perhaps even in the upcoming game drop, as it's focusing on the sort of cuteness of Minecraft. But this comment also suggested more ambient birds such as pigeons, hummingbirds, that sort of thing, which once again I'd love to see. As they don't even have to have any use. You don't need to be able to tame them or breed them or anything like that. Maybe just they could spawn on top of trees and just fly around making ambient sounds. That's all I'd like to see a bird do in Minecraft, and I feel like we could get a few new variants as well. That way the Minecraft world could feel more alive. Add all the mobs from Minecraft Earth and any block stash items related to them. If you didn't know, Minecraft Earth was an old mobile game which got discontinued a few years ago, and it added loads of unique mobs and blocks into the game. So if we take a look at the mobs on the Minecraft wiki, we can see it added loads of things like the muddy pig, spotted pig, and different sheep variants. We got like inky sheep, we got rainbow sheep, then obviously loads of cow variants, the albino cow, we got the moo lip, the moo bloom, which hopefully will be added to Minecraft one day, umbra cow, woolly cow, which we now have, and loads of chicken variants, once again, like the cluck shroom, the stormy chicken. More rabbit variants, such as the harlequin rabbit or the jumbo rabbit. Loads of other mobs as well, like the jolly llama is a personal favourite of mine. Furnace golem, horned sheep, melon golem, bouldering zombie, lobber zombie, skeleton wolf, which I'm really surprised isn't in the game. Loads of others like a dyed cat, hyper rabbit, magma cow. So many of these cool mobs, which honestly, now that they're not a part of Minecraft Earth because this game's discontinued, it would be really cool to see them actually added into vanilla Minecraft. Another good point to bring up would be Minecraft Dungeons, which is another sadly discontinued Minecraft game, but it adds, once again, loads of unique mobs into the game. As you can see, it added things like the baby ghast, or a cinnamon ferret, or the raven, royal penguin, red panda, zombified baby pigs. So many of these mobs would be so cool in vanilla Minecraft, as right now they're going to waste just being sat in dungeons. Like a gold parrot would be cool, emperor penguin, mole, hedgehogs. There are so many cool mobs which I'd love to see. Even if we get down to the hostile mobs, we have things like the piglin hunter, just as an extra variant, a tropical slime, the squall golem, new enderman variants, new illager variants. There are so many cool mobs we could see from Minecraft Dungeons and Minecraft Earth. We need new types of food. The last time we got any new food was from 1.17. Yeah, that's right, the glowberry was the last food to be added into vanilla Minecraft. So new types of food would be amazing, and we sort of already touched on that earlier with Farmer's Delight adding new crop options for like getting tomatoes and getting onions to eat, but more types of food in general would be really nice. And I'm going to leave that to you in the comments. What type of food would you like to see in Minecraft? Let me know in the comments. And whilst you're down there, make sure to subscribe. A chorus wood type would be cool. We have blue and red wood from the Nether, so why not purple from the end? Now, I've always thought the end needs a type of wood, and honestly, chorus wood would make sense. As right now, it's almost like a tree, as it sort of grows fruit, so I guess it's like a fruit tree almost, but it'd be cool if it could turn into planks or whatever. Although, right now, you can actually smelt a chorus in a furnace to create popped chorus, which then creates purple blocks. So maybe that could just be changed into adding chorus wood, or maybe it's a similar plant to this, but just as a wood variant. I think something like that would be quite cool. I also like the mechanic of just punching it and the whole tree falls down. I think that would be quite a unique thing with the chorus wood. And hey, more wood types would always be nice in Minecraft. Please add Skulk zombies and skeletons. No. The Deep Dark is one of the only Minecraft biomes where hostile mobs cannot spawn, and I think it should remain that way. We shouldn't get Skulk zombies and Skulk skeletons spawning in the Deep Dark biome, as honestly, it then wouldn't make sense. As it's supposed to be this sort of dead biome where nothing spawns, but then you can accidentally spawn in a warden, and then having other mob variants spawn just wouldn't be that fun. However, I do like the idea of a Skulk skeleton or a Skulk zombie, so maybe something to do with a Skulk catalyst could infect them, and then we get a new type of mob. I think that would be a cooler idea. Or maybe the portal in the ancient city could lead us to a Skulk dimension, and then we get Skulk zombies and skeletons. Now, in my last video where I rated some of your Minecraft ideas, I mentioned the Nether reactor and left it up to you guys in the comments to suggest ideas. So here are the best few. The Nether core should turn all the blocks nearby into Nether block. Now, this is actually what the Nether reactor core used to do in Minecraft Pocket Edition. However, I feel like if it was re-added, it should do so in a different way. As if it was to be re-added, I don't think it should replace everything and turn into a giant sort of Nether spear. Instead, it should just replace the nearby blocks. For example, if you were to activate the core near a forest biome, maybe it could turn all the grass blocks into different types of nylium. Maybe it could just be random, so sometimes you get crimson, sometimes you get warped. And then it could turn all the nearby trees into that different type of material, and then same with the leaves, turning it into warp blocks and things. I think that would be a cool way. That way you can access Nether blocks in a different way as well. Maybe a Nether reactor core could prevent Nether mobs like hoglins and piglins from becoming zombified within a certain range. Once again, I think that could be a really fun idea as well. However, maybe you have to activate the core, and any nearby mobs, such as, for example, this cows nearby, that could turn into a hoglin or something. If there are villagers or like a zombie or something nearby, that could turn into piglins. And I like the idea of them being immune to the overworld. However, it should be on a timer. It shouldn't be an infinite thing. That way you can't set up piglin farms or anything in the overworld, as it should be limited to the Nether. I think that's a good game mechanic. However, maybe give them a 20-minute timer or something, similar to the Wandering Trader, as obviously when the Wandering Trader spawns in, he'll leave after a while. Maybe do that with the piglins as well. Maybe they spawn in at first, the last 20 minutes, and then turn into zombified piglins. That way you still have reason to go into the Nether. And hey, maybe it would be cool to get unique drops from bartering from these overworld piglins. I don't know what it would be, so if you have any ideas, let me know in the comments. As well as letting me know in the comments what your ideas for Minecraft are. And if you want to see me rate them, make sure to subscribe. I'm rating some of your Minecraft ideas to see if they should be added into the game. Starting with Nether hostile variants of cows, sheep and chickens. Now right now in Minecraft, there are cold cows, temperate cows and warm cows, as well as cold chickens, temperate chickens, and warm chickens. And we kind of have that with sheep as well. In temperate biomes, we get the white sheep. In cold biomes, we get black sheep. And in warm biomes, we get brown sheep. But I'd love to see some more variations in the Nether. Now, this could happen in 2 different ways. First of all, you could just bring 2 cows, chickens, or sheep, or whatever, to the Nether and breed them, and the baby results in some sort of Nether variant, or they could spawn naturally. And I quite like the idea of more naturally spawning mobs in the Nether, especially as they could provide more food sources, even if it is just chicken, mutton, and beef. And a way this could work is different biomes having different mobs. For example, the Soul Sand Valley could get its own soul chicken. I think that'd be quite cool. Then the Crimson Forest could get its own cow variant. Maybe it has the crimson mushrooms all over it. And to be fair, we could get a warped one as well. And I guess the warped forest or something could have a sheep. Although, if I'm honest, a sheep is the variant I care least about getting in the Nether. I'd much prefer to see cow variants or chicken variants in the Nether, as chickens can technically spawn in the Nether already as part of zombified piglin chicken jockeys, so it kind of makes sense to get a different chicken variant, and I think a soul chicken would be really fun. And then crimson and warped fungus mushrooms would be really fun as well. Compost, a block that lets plants and saplings grow faster, like bone meal, but a permanent smaller boost. I think this would be a great item in Minecraft, and with a mod, Farmer's Delight, we can take a look at it. First of all, it would honestly be just such a great block for decorating in like a farming area or like a pig pen or something like that. But also, I think its properties of like growing a sapling faster would also be really cool. Farmer's Delight also has other blocks such as rich soil and rich soil farmland, which I think could be tied into compost. Perhaps tilling it with your hoe can make it so crops that you plant on it grow a lot faster. That way farming gets more of an update in Minecraft. Maybe they could do it as well so the tilt farmland cannot be trampled when you're jumping on it. I think that would be really useful. And just being able to grow crops a lot faster would be really nice. And I really like that comment suggestion about crafting it using sticks and rotten flesh, giving rotten flesh an extra use, which I think it deserves. It's been in the game for such a long time. But what would you like to see Compost do? Let me know in the comments, and whilst you're doing that, make sure to subscribe. I feel like Minecraft needs a manual way of making things like manually cutting food with a knife, or clever hanging the corpses and draining blood to add more realism. No, this should not be added to Minecraft. I know it's somewhat realistic, but I think just hanging up like the dead animal and then draining of blood is just quite gory, especially for something like Minecraft, which doesn't have blood because it's not really supposed to be that realistic. I do quite like the idea of a knife like cutting things though. Like Farmer's Delight adds in a knife item which basically allows you to get the guaranteed secondary drop. For example, if I kill a cow with a knife, it will always drop some leather, which is really cool. So I think something like that could be added, but we don't need to be cutting up and like letting blood out of corpses of mobs. I think that's just a bit too gory for what is ultimately a children's game. However, Farmer's Delight does add a cutting board, and you can use a knife on it to get different cuts of meat, such as like this minced beef. I think that would be quite a cool idea, but not being able to like cut up an entire cow or something, that's just too gory. And hey, Minecraft isn't intended to be this super realistic game. We have giant nautiluses, we have an elytra, we have an ender dragon. That's not realistic. They need to add cheese, and you should be able to make a sandwich. They should also add cabbage, tomatoes, and a pepper that gives you strength but does fire damage. First of all, I think cheese would be quite a fun item into Minecraft, but I don't know about a sandwich. I feel like that's quite a modern thing in comparison to lots of the food in Minecraft. That might just be a bit of a silly idea though. However, more types of crops is something I'd love to see in the game. Farmer's Delight once again does a great job of this by adding in things like tomatoes and lettuce, and I think those would be great. I also love the idea of a pepper just providing more things for cooking. However, I don't think eating it should like give you fire damage and give you strength or anything. Maybe something like a golden pepper, but like not just a regular pepper. But maybe some more types of like spicy food could be added to Minecraft, and maybe that does damage, or maybe it doesn't, because then you would not bother eating it, I guess. Owls and ravens would be so cool for Minecraft, especially around the pale and dark forest. Yes, this is an amazing idea. I think I mentioned it in my last rating Minecraft ideas video, but I'd just love to see more types of birds in Minecraft. I feel like an owl would really make sense as one of the sort of most well-known, most popular types of birds, and I think ravens would be really cool as well. They definitely fit that more creepy vibe of the Pale Gardens. Plus, I guess they could also come with some really unique properties, which, if you have any ideas for, let me know in the comments. But maybe with a raven, you could like tame it or something, and then it could fly around and protect your base. Something like that, I think, would be quite nice. I'd love new dye colors, because we've had the same 16 forever. Honestly, that's not too bad of an idea. And luckily, I've got a mod that does that. Mortar adds 8 new dyes into the game. We've now got maroon, scarlet, amber, pear, pine, slate, lavender, and salmon. And I guess they are somewhat all shades of other colors that exist in Minecraft, but they'd be really cool to see, especially because of all the new fun building blocks we can get, such as a concrete. These all look really good, and honestly, all of these shades look so nice. The mod's done a really good job at adding new colors into the game, which are unique. Like, we don't have a purple shade like this in Minecraft, or we don't have this sort of yellowy pear color in Minecraft, or like this sort of reddish orange. I think all of these colors would be good dye options in Minecraft if they were to be added. I feel like these would be the most realistic ones as well, as if you think about it, if we look at dye, we sort of got every color anyway. These are all just added shades, which I think would be quite cool. Hear me out. We have the stray, which is a snowy skeleton, and recently we got the parched, which is a desert skeleton. When submerged in powdered snow, a regular skeleton turns into a stray. So what have we got? The quicksand, which could turn regular skeletons into parched. It's honestly a block I'm so surprised hasn't been added, as we've had powdered snow for a while now, so it would be cool to get a warm variety, even if it literally does the same thing. You fall in it and then you start suffocating. And I love the idea of it turning skeletons into parched. Plus, quicksand could definitely be used for traps, which I think players would find very, very useful. I would like to see a tropical island / paradise biome have some coconut trees or banana trees. I think this is a really good idea and would really help to add some more types of food into Minecraft. And I think some sort of palm tree would be great, even if it's sort of tropical biomes, like in the middle of a desert as the oasis biome, but it spawns with these really cool palm trees. I believe these are from Wild or Wild. And then you can get coconuts and things as well. I think that would be really cool. Plus, I guess it could spawn in like ocean biomes. Maybe in like the middle of a very massive ocean, you could find a little tropical island biome with a couple of palm trees and just enough food to live off of. I think that would be quite a cool concept. Then, like survival islands would be really improved. Plus, palm wood would be an amazing wood to be added into Minecraft, as the color just works so well and would look so nice for building. And regardless of a tropical biome, I think more fruits in Minecraft would be nice anyway, like coconuts or pineapples or bananas or something like that. We should have customized worlds where you can choose which biomes you want and don't want. Honestly, yeah, I think this would be quite a cool feature. That way Minecraft feels more like a sandbox game, as you can completely shape the way your world spawns. Maybe you only want sort of mountainous terrain. You could set it to that, or maybe you just want a plains biome and a forest biome and like a desert biome maybe. Then you could do that. I think custom worlds being more advanced would be so cool. And a fun fact, custom worlds actually used to exist on Java Edition. However, they were removed, I believe in 1.13. But you used to be able to like change the order distribution in your world. You could add lava oceans and things like that. I think that being re-added to modern day Minecraft would be so cool and would really help like players completely transform their worlds. And I guess it's not technically needed in vanilla Minecraft, as you could probably get a data pack for it instead. That way you can change like the world height and things like that as well. I wish that they added more ambient sounds, like the ambient sounds mod. It would really make Minecraft much more immersive and better. Yes, I 100% agree. I think ambient sounds is something Minecraft has desperately needed for years, as the Minecraft world is very quiet. As you can see, I've got no ambient sounds mod or anything on. Standing here, you can't hear anything, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. If I was playing through a flat world, like doing some creative building, it probably would be annoying to hear birds chirping. But like standing in a forest biome, if there are no mobs around, it is silent. So I'd love some ambient sounds, whether it's birds chirping or like wind sounds or something like that. Plus, I like the common suggestion of it being toggleable. That way, people who find it annoying can just remove it. But in recent Minecraft updates, they have been doing more to add more ambience into the game, such as falling leaves and things like that. So I honestly think ambient sounds could be next. On a similar topic to that, I'd also like things like cave sounds or like echoes when you're in caves. I think that would be really nice as well, just to make the game much more immersive. Minecraft should add constellations, eclipses, and shooting stars. It would make vanilla Minecraft even better. Once again, I 100% agree. Looking at the sky, it's quite boring. It would be so cool if we saw things in the sky like shooting stars just occasionally. They don't need to like crash into the Minecraft world or anything. Just add more animation to the sky. That would be really cool. I think more moon phases as well. Maybe occasionally you see like a red moon, like a blood moon. It doesn't necessarily have to trigger a blood moon event or anything, although that would be cool. But like just different colors of a moon would be really cool. And I feel like on a similar note to that, like different weather system in Minecraft would be really cool. I think weather is something that really needs to be overhauled. So maybe they could do something like, once it's raining in one part of the world, it may not be raining in another. For example, your base at 0, 0, it could be tipping down with rain, but you travel 1,000 blocks, it stops raining. I think that would be much more realistic. Plus, more weather systems would just be really nice. Like, we could have light rain, we could have heavy rain, we could have like a giant thunderstorms, which I know we already have, but like even bigger thunderstorms and things like that. I think that would be really cool. Or like overcast days or foggy days or something like that, just to make the Minecraft world more dynamic. Chocolate milk that only removes bad effects. Now, I don't think chocolate milk should be added, but I think a milk bottle should be added instead. And once again, I'm turning back to Farmer's Delight, which actually adds a milk bottle into the game. Now, what it does in Farmer's Delight, which I'd like to see it do in vanilla as well, is removing one effect at a time. So if I just grab out a few potions and then splash myself with them, I'll get loads of different effects, obviously. But then I drink this milk bottle, And as you can see, got quite a few. Drink this milk bottle. Only one of them goes at a time. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think it's quite cool that you can't really choose the effect that goes as well. That way, it's not that overpowered. It is simply just a milk in a bottle. Maybe tying back to an idea earlier, maybe you can milk one of the new Nether cows, and that could give you a potion which removes one like specific effect and one negative effect or something like that. I think then it would be really fun to get a splash milk bottle as well, which you could throw at your enemies and potentially like remove their strength or their speed or their regeneration or something. That way PvP can get more updates, and it'd be quite funny to throw milk at your opponents. Mushroom Island tweaks. New mushroom sprouts covering the ground, new paths made of mycelium and podzol, new fungal wood which can be dyed into all vanilla colours. I definitely agree that the Mushroom Island is in need of an update, and I really like the idea of some sort of like mushroom sprout on the ground. Wilder Wild adds the mycelium growth, which looks so cool and would just be a nice decoration item. And I also agree that more path variants would be cool, such as on things like mycelium and podzol, as they are completely different to grass blocks. So in reality, they should each get different textures. That way you could build with different types of paths in your world without just this one same color, which, don't get me wrong, looks nice, but it'd be cool if we had some more variations. And I quite like the idea of the mushroom blocks being the ones you could dye into different plank colors if we were to ever get dyed planks, as it would be cool. But I also not the biggest fan of dyed planks, as I'd rather just add more types of trees in Minecraft. I'm testing your Minecraft ideas, starting with one of the most common animal types on Earth, the deer. And honestly, yeah, I'm really surprised deer haven't been added to Minecraft yet, just because they feel like they'd fit into the game so well. This is just from the deer mod for Minecraft 1.20.1.7, and it's just an example of a type of deer we could see in Minecraft, because it does look really cool. And obviously it could have loads of fun mechanics to it. Maybe it could spawn in the forest biomes or something, and obviously it has baby variants. Maybe if you're in survival mode, it would run away from you. And the comment also suggested something I think would be quite cool. If you kill it, it would drop venison, a brand new type of food. Now honestly, this would be quite a good feature, as it would finally add a brand new type of food into Minecraft, and I think a new cooked meat would be really good, as we really haven't had any new cooked meats in Minecraft for such a long time. And I feel like venison is one that would quite fit, especially as deer could be very common, and you could just hunt them down and collect lots of it. Maybe they could drop leather occasionally, or this mod also adds in antlers, which are quite a cool ingredient. As if we take a look at some of the features from this mod, it also adds in a brand new deer banner pattern, which would be quite cool. I also do think more types of banners would be nice in Minecraft. I think a deer one would be good, but also just things for vanilla Minecraft, such as a warden banner, that would be useful. Or like a player face banner pattern. There are so many cool banner types we could get in future Minecraft updates. But more about the deer, because it is such a cool mob. I think once again it could be a good source of leather, but I'd also maybe add a feature where between the 24th and the 26th of December, similar to how you could get Christmas chests, there could be maybe a 1% chance for a deer to spawn with a red nose. That way, over Christmas, you have something to hunt for, which I think would be really fun. We have things for Halloween, so I just think a Christmas mob would be really fun and unique to try and collect as well. And I also feel like a deer really fits in with the next Minecraft update, as it's sort of focusing on the cuteness of Minecraft, and I feel like a deer fits into that very well. Especially with this mod, it's a really nice model it adds. I feel like Minecraft needs to add more skeleton horse variants and wither and frozen zombies. This is another great idea. We've got so many cool mob variants in Minecraft now, but there are a few that are missing. For example, we don't have frozen zombies, but we have the stray, so I'd love to see a frozen type of zombie be added. I'd also love to see more skeleton horse variants added, such as a wither skeleton horse maybe spawning in a new biome in the Nether or something, as well as obviously frozen skeleton horses. That would be really cool as well. Honestly, just to provide more uniqueness for the mobs you encounter within Minecraft. And I feel like this could be added along with a new Nether biome, which maybe is like a withered biome, so it spawns with like wither roses and maybe like a dead type of tree or something, so we can finally unlock black wood planks, which are one of the types I'd love to see most. But then it could also add in a wither zombie, which I think is another cool mob variant that should be added. Perhaps this could only spawn in the withered biome or something rather than in a fortress. That way you're not having to fight loads when trying to hunt for wither skulls. Maybe new Azalea wood. I've mentioned this a lot in the past, but honestly, I'd love to see Azalea wood be added into Minecraft. And the best part is, we could get so many different types of colors. For example, we could get something like a purple shade, or like a darker shade, like the Sakura planks from the Promenade mod, or maybe like a green shade to match in with the colored leaves. There are so many different types of planks we could get if Azalea wood was added, and I feel like instead of getting a new tree next, which, don't get me wrong, would be good, I feel like just simply updating Azalea trees to have a new type of log would be really appreciated. Before I move on to the next Minecraft idea, make sure to leave a like on today's video and subscribe. And obviously, if you want me to rate your Minecraft ideas, just leave them in a comment below. However, I will just say, if you're leaving like giant paragraphs, I probably won't pick them, as it just makes the video a lot longer to record, having to screenshot an entire comment. So leave it to like 3 or 4 lines at most, and whatever comments I'll pick. If you're doing like giant long comment. Whilst I do appreciate the ideas and I have read them and lots of them sound good, I'm not going to necessarily review them in a video as they're just big comments and they take up too much of a video. And I also just rate videos from the newest video. So the next video where I'm rating your ideas will be comments from this video, not past videos. So if I've missed one of your ideas, just leave it in the comment section on this video and I'll try and rate it in the next video. Candy is crafted with sugar and paper, which provides a little bit of saturation. Honestly, yeah, I think this would be a really nice little food item in Minecraft. Just something to give an extra bit of saturation would be really fun. This comment also made a reference to the fact that it could work with baby villagers, maybe giving a candy to a baby villager. However, I think it should work the opposite way around. Perhaps if you have hero of a village or something, the baby villagers will throw you little bits of candy just for an extra type of food in Minecraft. I think that would be quite fun, but I also do like the idea of just crafting with some sugar and paper. What about rainbow weather in Minecraft? Now in the last video where I rated some of your Minecraft ideas, I talked about new weather events such as heavier rain or foggy days or something like that, but honestly, a rainbow weather effect would be really nice as well. Even if it's something as simple as there being a rainbow in the sky, it doesn't need to add any new blocks or items or anything. Just being able to see it in the sky would be really cool. But on top of that, I know I mentioned it in the last video, but I'd love to see more weather types in Minecraft, such as foggy days, heavy rain or light rain, loads of different weather effects which could have impacts on the world as well. For example, heavy rain could boost fishing even more, or like there could be frosty days where crops grow slowly, or things like that would be really nice in Minecraft in my opinion. Perhaps we could even get things like harsh sunlight so it stays sunny even later so you have more daytime, or maybe we have times in the world where it gets darker much earlier. I think that would be really fun. Maybe after a certain milestone, maybe you'd have to get to day 50 or something in your world before that happens. That way, you're not logging in on your first world and it turns nighttime within 5 minutes. More cave formations, like crystal caves. The Cave and Cliffs update was one of my favourite Minecraft updates of all time. However, I do believe they missed one type of cave, which the comment suggested. Crystal caves. Which is something I'd love to see in the game. I think a whole crystal block set could be really cool. Even if it's something very similar to Amethyst, maybe you could create bricks and polished variants. I think that would be really cool. But we could definitely get some more types of caves as well. I think one which would really make sense is some sort of ice cave. But I'd also love to see something added like a glow mushroom cave or something similar to like Terraria, where that adds giant mushroom caves. I think something like that in Minecraft would be really cool. Plus, it could also provide more food sources in caves. Jack-o'-lanterns scare undead mobs. Once again, this is a brilliant idea. Wow, these comments today have been really good. But honestly, yeah, a jack-o'-lantern scaring off undead mobs would be quite cool. That way, if you create a scarecrow, simply using this design, it would actually scare off hostile mobs, which would be really cool. However, maybe it shouldn't necessarily work with a regular jack-o'-lantern, or I guess maybe it could, but we could also see more jack-o'-lantern variants added. I've showcased mods like that in the past, where it basically just adds more types of jack-o'-lanterns for the different torches in Minecraft. Obviously, we've got things like soul torches, redstone torches, and the new copper torch. So, to get jack-o'-lantern variants of those would be really cool as well, and maybe they have different uses as well. Maybe the soul one scares off piglins and things like that. Maybe the redstone torch scares off creepers, I don't know. But yeah, jack-o'-lanterns scaring off hostile mobs would be really nice. That way, building a scarecrow like this would actually be functional. Much like how resin is often dyed in real life, let us dye resin bricks, giving us coloured bricks along with their slab stair and wall variants. This is honestly one of my favourite ideas I've seen, as I don't really use resin bricks that often, but if I could dye them into any colour, I feel like I'd use them a lot more. As right now, in my opinion, they're very saturated compared to lots of other blocks in Minecraft. For example, if I get another orange block, like this jack-o'-lantern, you can see how much of a difference there is between the saturation. So maybe even desaturate this texture slightly, but I'd love to see more brick variants of this. For example, white ones would work really well with diorite, as you can see. It would also fit in with like calcite and things like that. We could get black ones, we could get every colour, and it would be really nice for building. And I also feel like we could get other types of bricks in the game, such as terracotta and concrete. We could get brick variants of these as well, which could then be crafted into slab stairs and walls. But then I guess we could also get concrete and terracotta, slab stairs and walls, as these are two of the blocks which need them most. Hot take idea: remove a level cap for enchantments in survival for netherite gear, maces and tridents, and remove the too expensive in the Anvil. Now, an even hotter take is the fact that I love the too expensive thing in Minecraft. It sort of gives you a purpose to create new tools in your world. If you choose not to use mending, eventually you will have to create a new pickaxe, and I think that's quite a fun feature. However, I do agree that it should be, because right now I think the cap is like 40, so maybe move it up to 50 or 60 or 70 or something like that, just so you can continue using your tools for longer, but eventually you will have to create new ones, as I think that's a really good mechanic in Minecraft. That way you could actually combine all the enchantments onto something like boots without having to worry about it being too expensive. And also, I feel like just renaming a tool or item or whatever shouldn't be affected by the level cap at all. However, the enchantment level cap should not be removed. This comment suggests getting something like netherite pickaxe with Fortune 255 on it, and I don't think that's a good idea, especially in survival mode. I think that just makes the game too overpowered, And if you would like that in Minecraft, you can simply just give yourself a command. Minecraft is a sandbox game after all. You can choose what you do, but I don't think it should be added to vanilla Minecraft. However, I do think certain enchantments should be boosted. For example, we've got Unbreaking 3. I think that could be moved up to Unbreaking 5. Same with Fortune 5, Looting 5, things like that. But maybe that could only be applied onto endgame tools such as Netherite or Diamond. But maybe also you'd have to unlock like a new template or something from a structure similar to like the smithing upgrade or armor trims. That way you can get like a maxed out enchantment on an item, but maybe once again it could be limited to one. For example, you could choose to have Unbreaking 5 on your pickaxe, or you could get Fortune 5. I think that would be a fun mechanic, as it gives you more choice and more variation for your tools in Minecraft. The Kiln from the mod Clayworks, basically a furnace that would accelerate the melting of glass, bricks, clay, etc. Honestly, yeah, I'd really like this idea. We've got the smoker for food, we've got the blast furnace for ores, so we need another furnace type for smelting different types of materials, such as glass, clay, and bricks. Plus, the Clayworks mod looks really interesting. I'm not going to test out in-game as you need forge for it, and I don't have a forge instance, but as you can see, it adds so many cool features in, such as these terracotta bricks, which I actually mentioned earlier. Chiseled bricks, that would be cool. But it also adds other things into the game, such as new types of pots, which I actually mentioned in a recent video where I talked through my Minecraft ideas, such as like colored pots. But I also love the idea of like getting trimmed pots. I think that's really cool. Yeah, just more decoration options for the decorated pots would be brilliant, as well as new like concrete block variants. I think things like that would be really cool, as well as obviously the kiln, which could smelt materials a lot quicker. Plus, it would help you unlock all of these new items, I guess. Metal ladders. Yeah, I definitely agree. Just more types of ladder variants in general would be really nice. Now, obviously, in Minecraft right now, you craft ladders like this. However, if we were to get wood variant ladders, this could simply be changed to having a plank in the middle, and then you could get ladders of each wood variant. But I also agree metal ladders would be really good. Perhaps copper ones, the more they age, the slower you climb up them, or gold and iron ones just allow you to climb up things much quicker. I think things like that would be really cool. And then maybe we could also place floating ladders, as once again, I think that would be a really nice feature. Tree-sized flowers that give petal blocks and green wood stems. Now, once again, this is one of my favorite ideas in today's video, and whilst this comment mentions it could overhaul the flower forest, I feel like we could just get a brand new biome, like a living garden biome, which just adds these giant types of flowers into the game. And once again, it could work something like a tree, where there's just these giant stems, but then there's just a little bit of sort of foliage on top, which I guess could be petal blocks. I think something like that would be really cool. I mean, this is just a quick example of what, I mean, it looks awful, but like it could look something like that. But basically, just giant tree-sized flowers in Minecraft would be really cool in just like this giant like living flower biome. Maybe like, obviously it could have unique types of flowers spawning, but like giant poppies, giant alliums, things like that would be really fun to encounter within Minecraft. But there we go, these were just some of your Minecraft ideas. Now, normally I'll do a title such as rating your dumb Minecraft ideas, rating your awful ideas, but today, these were some of the best Minecraft ideas I've seen. Minecraft's next update is focused on overhauling all of the baby mob designs. However, there could definitely be more features to this update, which is why today I'm rating your Minecraft ideas, starting with aquatic baby mobs should be able to be put in buckets. Now, right now in Minecraft, you can pick up axolotls, different types of fish, and tadpoles in buckets. However, you can't pick up any baby mobs, despite them being a lot smaller. For example, salmon are quite big, but a baby turtle is tiny, so surely that should be able to be put in a water bucket. And I feel like this should also work for things like squids, for glow squids, as well as baby nautiluses, as they're all very small mobs, which could definitely fit inside a water bucket, especially if you compare them to the size of an axolotl, which can fit into a water bucket. And it would also be really useful just to help transport mobs around, such as picking up these baby turtles and moving them to like an enclosure or something. I mean, I guess with turtles you can use eggs to hatch them, but things like the nautilus, it's a pain to transport around because it suffocates on land so quickly. Same with a squid, same with a glow squid, so there should be an easier way to transport them. And honestly, picking them up in a water bucket, similar to how you can do with tadpoles, axolotls, and salmon, would be a really good idea. Be able to breed dolphins, squids, and glow squid with any type of fish. Now, obviously, this update's focused on adding new baby mob designs, as you can see all over this world, new baby llamas, goats, camels, etc. It also has brand new designs for baby dolphins and baby squids, as we just mentioned. And yeah, there should definitely be a way to breed them. Now, I don't necessarily think fish should be the answer, as I don't know if squid eat fish in real life. I should probably research that, but I think honestly a better food source for something like a squid would be seagrass, kelp, or maybe even something like a sea pickle. And I also feel like that should be the same way with a dolphin, as dolphins can actually be fed fish, but if they're underwater, they'll lead you to a shipwreck or an ocean ruin or something. So I don't think that behavior should be taken away. So perhaps you could just feed it seagrass or kelp or a sea pickle or something like that. That way you can breed them and get more baby dolphins in your world, as they're really adorable, and there should just be an easier way to see them. I also think this should be added on to fish types as well, such as a cod, salmon, and tropical fish, just breeding them with seagrass or something. That way we can get more types of baby mobs in the game. Like imagine like a little baby cod or a baby salmon or something. I think that'd be quite cool. Plus on Minecraft Bedrock Edition, when fish were just added into the game in the beta versions, we had different types of spawn eggs, which I feel like could be re-added into the game with all of these really cool textures. Like especially this tropical fish one. I think this looks really cool. It'd be cool if these were re-added, but maybe it's something they drop on the floor, a bit like a frog spawn. That way, that is the way baby fish hatch. I think that would be quite cool. New baby strider, parrot, bat, and sniffer. As of the latest snapshot, almost every baby mob now has a new design, such as the goat, camels, rabbits, everything like that. However, the 3 mobs that don't are the strider, the panda, and the sniffer. All still miss their variations, and honestly, I'm not too bothered with like the panda. I think the panda's adorable, but to be fair, it could be even cuter. I think the strider definitely needs to be updated, as it looks completely different from all the other baby mobs now. And also the snifflet needs an overhaul as well. And I honestly think these will come in the next couple of snapshots. However, this comment also suggested new baby mobs, such as baby bats, which I could see as being a cool thing. However, I'm not too bothered about that, to be honest. What I'd actually like to see are new baby parrots. We need a baby parrot. I'd say parrot egg, say bred with beet seeds, and they produce 1 to 2 eggs with a 100% chance of spawning babies in one of the parents' colors. Now, right now in Minecraft, you can actually just tame parrots with any type of seed. You can use torch flowers, you can use wheat seeds, you can use beetroot seeds, you can use any type of seed. So there's actually not technically an item to breed parrots with, but maybe just add it as a functionality to the torch flower seeders. Then it gives more reason to get the sniffer, so you can actually breed these parrots. And the sniffer's kind of like a jungly mob, so, and I feel like the torch flower is quite a jungly mob, so that would definitely fit the theme. Plus, just adding baby parrots would be really cool. I imagine they'd be really cute designs. And maybe just adding more parrot designs in general would be really nice as well. But honestly, if any new mob was to get a baby design in this update, I feel like parrots are the ones. Baby iron golems, it would be so cute, only it would need to be creative only. I mean, it wouldn't have to be creative only, but a baby iron golem would be really cute, just like half the size of a regular one, a bit like the copper golem, I guess, where that is a lot smaller than the regular iron golem, maybe like an iron golem sized one of these. Maybe they don't attack as well, maybe they're just a bit weaker or something, but honestly, a baby iron golem would be a really cute mob in the game. Don't know how it could work. Maybe something like baby villagers have a behavior where they can like spawn them in or like build them or something. I think that could be quite cool. Maybe you'd have to give them the resources and they build it up, or maybe baby villagers, if they feel threatened, they'll spawn a baby iron golem. But honestly, I think a baby iron golem would be a really cute mob inside of the game. Before I continue rating your Minecraft ideas, make sure to leave a like on today's video and subscribe. Waxable utility blocks. That way I can use them in my builds without a villager becoming a fisherman. Now this doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the next Minecraft update, which I specified in my community post. However, I still think it would be a great idea nonetheless. As barrels are one of the best blocks to build with in Minecraft. They've got such a cool design and they're just useful for storage and everything. However, the biggest pain is the fact that villagers will always wander over to them. Meaning if you've got a custom village, 90% of your villagers will be fishermen rather than what you intend them to be, like farmers or anything like that. So, I think there should be a change, and honestly, honeycomb works really well. You could just wax the barrel, it doesn't have to change texture or anything, but if you use a bit of honeycomb on your barrel, it then stops villagers from being able to open them and have them as their workstations. I think that's a great idea, because it would then make these workstation blocks so much easier to build with without having to worry about all your villagers surrounding one barrel. I would like to see more tameable baby mobs or birds, or baby birds. Now I probably say this in every video, but I'd love to see more bird types added to Minecraft, even if it's something as simple as a robin or a pigeon or a blackbird or something like that, just to help add more ambience into the game, and in turn it could add new baby mobs into the game. We've seen recently with the addition of the amazing new baby chicken, just how cute new baby like sort of birds would be. So yeah, I'd love to see more birds into the game. In terms of tameable mobs, with the actual mobs we have in Minecraft, I can't think of any that actually should be tameable. However, just adding more types of tameable mobs in general would be really cool. And you know what, I'll leave that down to you guys in the comments. If you have any ideas for new tameable mobs for Minecraft, let me know. But as this update's focusing on the cuteness of mobs, I'd love to see more mob variants, such as new wolf variants, new cat variants, and things like that, just to have more cuteness and more life into Minecraft. Black bear. Now right now in Minecraft, we have the polar bear and we have a panda, 2 types of bears. However, we could definitely do with a few more, as a polar bear sort of in these colder climates, and I guess a panda's in these warmer bamboo jungle climates. I think we should just get a sort of bear in the middle, like a brown or a black bear spawning in like the tiger biomes or the mega tigers or something like that, just as another mob variant. I feel like, once again, that could fit the theme of this update really well. Plus, it would probably come with an adorable new baby mob design, which I'd love to see. Some way to see what mobs you've used the golden dandelion on, so you don't accidentally use it twice on the same mob. Yeah, I honestly think this is a good idea, as right now, it's really hard to tell which mobs are golden dandelion and which ones are not. Like, which llama is it? Well, it's this one because I just did it, but you sort of get the point. However, I don't think it should have to be a visual indicator. The main reason you'd want to use a golden dandelion on mobs such as the baby chickens and things like that is because you want them to stay as these adorable textures. So I don't think there should be like a visual difference on them, but maybe even as something as simple as in the F3 screen. I think maybe it already is, but you can obviously modify your F3 screen now. But honestly, what I'd just like to see is a better visual indicator for you actually feeding them the golden dandelion. Right now, it's these tiny little bone meal particles. It should be something a bit more like, maybe something like a barrier particle to show that it stopped aging, or the bone meal one to show it can age again. I think something as simple as that would be really useful. Tameable foxes. Now here's a fun fact. Foxes are technically tameable, sort of, in Minecraft. If you breed two of them together, okay, they've immediately ran off to harm a rabbit, but okay, they're gonna continue hunting, so let's fly over here, away from all the other mobs. But if you find two foxes and breed them together, they'll obviously create a baby fox, which, let's take a look at its new baby design, because that is adorable. But if you breed two baby foxes together once they grow up, their baby will trust you even more. For example, if I'm in survival, the adults will flee a lot more than the baby fox will. And that's sort of a way you build trust with foxes in Minecraft. As you can see on the Minecraft wiki, there's actually a whole load of different things about the fox, such as the breeding mechanics to make the babies trust you more and more. And that's why the fox is actually deemed to be a neutral mob, as it will actually protect you. For example, we can actually see in this picture here that a trusting fox is attacking a zombie because it hit the player. That's a feature the fox can do in Minecraft, which I feel like not many people know about, so it's quite a good thing to keep in mind. Which is why I don't necessarily think we should see tameable foxes, as I think the trusting mechanic is just so much cooler, and it's a bit more realistic, as you wouldn't really tame a fox with like berries or something in real life. You'd sort of build trust with the babies over time. I had an idea involving the moo bloom. Moo blooms would grow golden dandelions on their backs. They would always spawn as babies and never grow up unless fed wheat. This would serve as a hint. This is honestly such a good idea. Right now, obviously the moo bloom doesn't exist in Minecraft, but the sort of design behind it is it's a flower cow, it's yellow. So the golden dandelion would fit as a good flower for it to have, and I love the idea of it only spawning as a baby, which obviously cannot grow up unless you feed it loads of wheat, or maybe use a golden dandelion again, then it can grow up. I think that's a really good idea. That way you can understand the purpose of a golden dandelion before you even encounter a full-size moo bloom. I think that's a really cool idea, and as long as it adds the moo bloom into the game, I'd be a fan of it, because the moo bloom is probably the mob I'd like to see most in Minecraft, and whilst it means it wouldn't add the buttercup flower into the game, honestly, if they had that purpose, it would still be a really cool mob. Oh, and I recall someone arguing that a sniffer egg should be prevented from hatching when a golden dandelion is used on it. Once again, this is a great idea, and I'm surprised that this hasn't been added, as the sniffer egg is a great block for decoration. It could be really useful in like a museum build. However, it will hatch on any block. If I place this in the air, it will eventually hatch. If I place it on moss, it will hatch. Any block, it will hatch. Whereas something like a turtle egg has to be placed on sand for it to hatch. So I feel like that should be the case of the sniffer egg, only hatching on moss blocks or something like that. Or simply using a golden dandelion or honeycomb, as we mentioned earlier with workstations, would work perfectly to prevent it from hatching, because it's such a cool block to build with, and I'd love to actually use it. This comment also mentioned something about using golden dandelion on crops, and honestly I feel like shears should just be used for that. It can already be used on things like kelp and glowberries, so I think it should be expanded to be used on everything, like wheat, sweet berries, vines and things like that. Mainly vines, because they're really annoying. You can't really control them unless you use like string, which is just annoying. And things like wheat, stopping it in certain areas would be great. Same with berry bushes. That way we get like a new bush design without having to worry about red berries growing on them. But there we go. These were just some of your ideas on how to improve Minecraft's next update. If you have any other update ideas, let me know in the comments. And make sure to leave a like on today's video and subscribe.